monitored and recorded. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
Hey, Lazor.
To refuse, hang up now or stay on the line for additional options. To hear the billing rates for this call, say or dial 9.
Free.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hey, Free, two things. I got your letter.
Hello?
Free, can you hear me? Free, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I got.
Now I can't hardly, but at first I could.
Okay, I got 3 bars, so I should have a good signal. I got a letter from you today. I have not even opened it yet. It's in a brown envelope. So I'll open it right now. But also, my wife and I, we watched. You mentioned Zimbardo, Dr. Zimbardo. We did watch that movie last night, and it was absolutely educational, and we've recommended that everybody watch it. It's called the Stanford Prison Experiment, and wow, was it an educational movie.
And you know, I've tried for every parole hearing attorney that I've had for the last, probably all up, like 7 parole hearings over the last 25 years. I've pleaded with them to allow me or to present that to show about, this stuff. Compare my background in society with all these false claims here, and then look at the studies, the proof. And they've all refused to do it, saying it's irrelevant, they don't see that kind of stuff, and stop me from getting it on the record. Now, I tried or intended to get it in when I was representing myself. Then they forced on the second half of that hearing, which took place in November, or the first half of it having been June of last year. But I planned to submit all that stuff, and then they forced an attorney on me who, again, wouldn't let me present that stuff. So I think it's important. Before I forget, let me mention one more thing about that. Zimbardo wrote another book. He's probably had several by now. He's become a psychologist in the meantime. But when I was in touch with him, writing back and forth for several years, he was still a sociologist, and he was a sociologist when he did the study. But anyway, I got his second or one of his subsequent books called, I think it's called something evil something or something evil. I think it's got the word evil in it. And I, a friend of mine pays for this stuff for me, and a guard named Abbott at let me think for a second. SADF prison, substance abuse treatment facility prison that I was at before this one.
Is it called Why Good People Do Evil Things, or Why Good People Turn Evil? Possibly something like that.
No.
Okay.
No, it's shorter than that.
Okay.
You could probably look it up while we're talking. If you look at Zimbardo and see his authorship, you'll see it. But anyway, I had a friend buy me the book. I was so impressed. It's just amazing. It exposed so much more about the psychology behind prison guards, and that they do this stuff. And I was going to take that and all the paperwork I had based on it, work I'd done in studying it, to the parole board. Well, a company named Abbott at SADF prison set me up with a trip to the mall and looted thousands of dollars worth of my property. I just gave most of it to my ex-cellmate who worked with him to set me up with going to the mall. And my cellmate was selling that stuff in the day room over the next few days, and then a whole bunch of their valuable property. But he took my best books. Some of them I took years to get because I often don't have somebody out there to buy me other stuff. So, and I don't ask for what people offer, then I get what I maybe was trying to get for years. But anyway, he stole that book and all the information with it, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that whole project went down the drain. Once that happens, and I put so many hours into something like that, and I just kind of put it away, and I don't usually get back to them. So anyway, that's a couple of things I wanted to say about the Zimbardo experiment. It is very important. Did you find the book by chance?
Well, I'm driving, Free, and I'm not able to look at it. Yeah, Free. I'm driving down the road, and I'm not able to look it up.
Okay, sorry about that. I having cell phones didn't exist when I was out there wasn't even close, so I forget that you guys are sometimes doing things like driving while we're talking. If I may, unless you had something else, I'd like to continue on with that list I was giving yesterday. I just have a handful more.
No, you bet. You bet. Talk about what you want to talk about, and I find it fascinating.
I ended up at Corcoran, and there was, I think, one more, but I don't have the information out of here in my memory right now. At Salinas Valley State Prison, which is where I am now, on May 9th, 7:30 p.m. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, when I was about to call you that night, I got accosted by a prisoner, not physically, but right up to it. And I backed off like I usually do and backed up and just got away from him. And one of the guards taunted me about that and actually tried to bait me why I didn't do the manly thing and tie into with fighting. And, you know, this is ridiculous. But that's the kind of thing these guards love to do. Even some of them now with the whole new phase that CDC has put out of rehabilitation. So I just wanted to mention that. I got that out of order because I want to go through a couple others. In Kern Valley State Prison, and you can see I'm mentioning a lot of prison because I've had 51 transfers, and one of the reasons they love to transfer me so much is to set me up with new cops doing new things when they kind of use themselves up with the old ones doing the old things to me. So in Kern Valley State Prison, about 2010, a Sergeant Sika, S-I-C-A, who I understand was later busted and fired for challenging a prison to a fight and went out to a private little area with him to fight. He got his butt beat from what I understand. But anyway, it was in the newspapers. I haven't been able to get those articles. Stalking me really bad in the prison for 2 or 3 years. I've been there a few different times, about a year and a half each time.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
One of the things he did was he brought a big black cellmate that was a porter of his, a big worker of his, to my cell about 10 o'clock one night and told me, this guy is moving into your cell as your cellmate, thinking that I would refuse the guy because he knew the guy and I were sort of like enemies, didn't really get along. But I wouldn't refuse it because it would have resulted in a rule violation report. So I said, okay. Well, nonetheless, he turned me around, handcuffed me up, and wrote a false report saying I refused him, and then saying I was suicidal, so they put me on the suicide watch. And because of the nature of what they had continued to do like that, every time I would say something to them, they twisted around and accused me of saying something I didn't say. So I actually quit talking to them. Based on the fact that I quit talking to them, the psychs and the guards got together and came to my cell one day with needles filled with, syringes filled with their poisons, and going to inject me, putting me on what's called CAHIA, which is where they can force drug you for a certain period of time before taking you to a special administrative CAHIA court with a fake judge to, more permanent that aspect of things. So anyway, they didn't shoot me with a needle because I agreed instead to take their drugs orally. So they had force drugged me for months and almost killed me. They had me so overdrugged with things I was so allergic to and having such horrid and suicidal reactions to. They almost murdered me by that and sent me through 3 different prisons, in worse prisons and worse psych lockups because of putting me on that status for absolutely no reason at all, totally made up by Sika. And finally, I luckily got accidentally transferred to a wrong place where, although I had an enemy there and had to go to the hole for about 6 months before they transferred me out of there, just because the enemy was on that yard. That was the downside, but the upside was I got a psychiatrist with an open mind and explained to him what had happened. He kind of didn't believe me, but he kind of did, so he said, I'll take a chance and take you out this forced drugging, and he did, and everything was fine. He observed me and saw that I was fine, so that's how I got out of that. And then 2 more times after that, they put me back on that CAHIA based on nothing but guards manipulating the psych staff to say that I needed to be put on it, because once you're on it, you have that record and they can keep doing that. And the only way I got off it was I fired my attorney that they kept appointing for me in those little Mickey Mouse CAHIA hearings where the fake judges, and I spoke to myself for about 2 hours, and the judge stopped me at one point, just intervened and said, you know what, 2 hours ago I knew you didn't even need to be on this, so you don't need to say anything more, and he took me off it. And ever since that, because that judge was emphatic about inferring that he could see the games that CDC had played on me, the evil that they had done, that they haven't tried to put me back on it again. But that's just some of the stuff I go through with the CDC. Now, I want to mention just 2 more rule violation reports that happened about probably in the area of 2006 to 2012 or 2011 at Mule Creek State Prison, both of them. And these were a little cabal of 3 or 4 guards that were doing this laser hate thing. And one of them, they I was unconscious because the sergeant had stolen my hot pot, which I used to distill my water because I have a chemical sensitivity problem to chlorine and fluoride. And that's been a factor also of why I've been so singled out and mistreated in prison because of that issue. And they used to give me bottled water for it, and the guards hated the fact that I got that because they verified the problem. But for the last 15 or 20 years, I've had to distill my own water. In any case, I was dying from dehydration from that, and I was passed out, and found out, and when we got the cops and they hit their alarm, they brought the nurse to the door. The nurse or medical tech pulled me out, dragged me out. I was on the floor on my back, unconscious. Put his knuckle real hard into my chest, which revived me a little bit for a moment. Saw that I was alive still, dragged me back in the cell, slammed the cell door shut, and wrote me the guard there with him wrote me a real violation report for interfering with a peace officer in the course of their duty, which is a very serious offense. It's the same as an offense on the street of interfering with a police officer. They found me guilty of it when I was unconscious, and their own paperwork admits that I was unconscious. It had nothing to do with summoning the guards to the cell. I couldn't. I was unconscious. So that's the kind of games they play. Those rule violation reports all still stand as valid. Another one, the guards got together with an inmate that they let kind of bully and manipulate everybody in the cell block, a big black guy. He would order people around, tell them what to do. He would take their little items that they're supposed to be given just out of necessity, things like toothpaste and things like that, and charge people for it, that sort of thing. They knew he was doing this for years, so they kind of worked with him to target people like me. We got into sort of a scuffle a couple times, not quite physical, but as a result of that, he and the guards got together and went to a very low-functioning mental case inmate, and a guy that I'd befriended and took care of like a big brother because he needed somebody to do that. And they manipulated it to say that I had been taking advantage of him and extorting money out of him and that sort of thing, which is just ridiculous. I mean, to say that about me is just so far from reality that it's ridiculous. But they found me guilty of it. So not only did they take away my parole by that, not only did they punish me severely by taking me off that yard, putting me in the hole for a while, and that sort of thing, and then transfer me to a worse prison, but they also wrecked my reputation because I've never been accused of anything like that in my life, not out of prison or in prison. And so that still stands, even though about a half year later out of the blue, when he realized what they did, he's so low functioning he didn't realize. He realized what they did. He wrote a affidavit that he wrote himself and put his little thumbprints on it saying this authenticates as me. And he sent it to me and to the prison, sent a copy of it to Gail and to me, and sent original to the prison people, telling them that the whole thing was set up by staff, that they coerced him to say these things and none of them were true, and he wanted me removed from his enemy list and wanted me to move back there so I could help him take care of him like I had been. And of course they denied all that, and I'm still under that rule violation report as a guilty finding. So that's the last of the ones I wrote down here on the list. This is just selected ones picked out to show the listeners there the kind of stuff that CDC's done to me and the kind of stuff I've needed to put up with year after year for 34 straight years, starting about a year after I was in my imprisonment. And right now it's not been that bad. The last year or so here has actually been really good in relationship to that. In comparison, there hasn't been that type of abuse, although there has been some on a lighter scale. So I want everybody to know that in between all of these that I've named and I've given some year dates, there's always been thousands more things they've done. At one point, I believe I had over 20,000 incidences listed that they had done, just abusive things and retaliatory things. And when I shared that with Gail Travis, she said, "Oh, that's got to be an exaggeration," even though she knows I'm not known to exaggerate.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Take the 12,000 some days I've been in prison, times it by 2 a day, that goes over 20,000 right there. And it's usually been more like 5 to 20 a day of these sort of things to me. So
wow,
that gives you some idea how bad it's been.
Hey, Lazor.
Okay, our time is running up, so anything...
Yep, yes. You're in our prayers. I did get a letter from you today. I'll read it and digest it. And also, you've been very courageous in exposing some of these incidents.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
I know the parole board can be very particular.
You're fading out.
Okay, I hope the parole board doesn't penalize you for being very courageous in exposing some of this.
Oh, they will, but we hope to get past that.
All right.
Yeah, they will. I have no doubt before I started on this.
All right.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That's going to take the last few
If
seconds.
I can call back today, would you want me to?
Yes, please do. Free, no doubt.
Hello?
Yes, call back. All right. He couldn't hear me very good. I don't know if it's Metro PCS or what. I'm kind of starting to doubt whether I got a good network or not.
An inmate at the Salinas Valley State Prison, Soledad, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. To repeat, thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello, Rudy.
Hello, Free. I'm in front of my computer now and no longer driving, so I can try to look up that Zimbardo book.
Okay. While you're looking that up, I wanted to, there's a few things I have in my hands in front of me and some notes. I wanted to mention to you that because you're interested in seeing my parole transcripts and such, I don't know if you're aware of it, but I do have one published case. It's a legal case. It's published out there as precedent. So if you want to look that up, it's a parole case. It was one of my parole hearings that the court reversed the denial of parole, but they have no power in California to set me free. They can only send me back for a new hearing. And in the new hearing, the board retaliated with a different panel of people, retaliated and set me off for 7 years instead of the 3 I was originally set off for. And so, in a sense, it cost me 10 years to win this case.
Wow.
You can believe that. That's how screwed up our system is, yeah. Anyway, the case is Inri Lazor, year of 2009. The citation is 172 Cal App, which you do by CAL.ATP 4th, Cal App 4th, 1185. That's the page number. If you just do it just like I cited, Inri Lazor, 172 Cal App 4th, 1185, you'll get it. It is the year 2009. I wanted to mention a couple other things, too. I'm actually reading that. It's cited in this recent California Lifer newsletter that just came out. California Lifer newsletter, also known as CLN, is the best premier publication out there from the best group that's helping California prisoners, especially so-called lifer prisoners. So you might want to tune into California Lifer News, and they also put out something called Lifelines or something like that you can get emailed to you for free. God knows you got enough to do already, but if you want to learn a little bit more about what's going on with the parole board and these sort of things here in California. This is all California stuff or federal cases that affect California prisoners. And this comes out about once every 2 months. It was started by Dr. Don Miller, who was a prisoner, ex-MD, who was a prisoner for probably 20-some years, earned his his doctorate degree in law when he was in prison, got out, got himself out, and helped a lot of other people, helped more people than any other group of attorneys in the state of California. He's not an attorney. Anyway, he started California Lifer newsletter, and he got in a serious car accident and had to turn it over to an organization called, hold on just a second.
Prison Activist Resource Center, PARC, P-A-R-C. I found the website. It looks like it's Prison Activist Resource Center. It's very impressive. I appreciate you sharing this. Yeah, California Lifer News.
No, that's a whole different.
Oh.
Hold on, that's a whole different organization.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a fairly good one too. I think if they're even still up and running. But the one I'm talking about is called Life Support Alliance Education Fund. LSAEF. Until recently, they were just called Life Support Alliance. They're very good. You can get free email updates, and you might be able to get this California Lifer News, the whole thing, on an email download for free also. I'm not sure about that, though. But anyway, I've got the current one that just came out in the last day or two in my hand, And there's a couple of things in it I wanted to mention to you. Besides my published case, I wanted to mention, let me see, on page 38, I've got it right here, so I'm going to look this up. They talk about, there's an article on page 38 entitled The Most Important Commute for Lifers, just in case you get a chance to look this up. And it talks about
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
the California governor's commutation of so many sentences record, hasn't been done like this for decades and decades. But it talks about how when people put in a request for commutation of sentence, that they start an investigation. It says it will be instigated, not maybe. Results will be presented before the executive board meeting of the parole board, which is unfortunate. So in other words, in order for him to grant anybody a commutation, he sends it to the parole board, which is basically my arch enemy that's denying me all this, and having them make the decision, or at least a recommendation back to him. But the main reason really that I want to bring this up is because I have never known of any of mine to result in any response at all. I thought they just glance at it and then throw it in the garbage can, because I've never gotten any kind of response from the board or anybody that the board has ever received anything from the governor about the numerous pardon applications or commutation of sentence applications I put in over the years. And that includes the current one. So what I would ask of you, if you're willing to do it and can, is to contact the governor's office specifically about my petition that's been before them for probably 6 or 8 months, maybe even 10 months now, and ask them, what the status is. Ask them if it's true that they always do an investigation, if they always send it to the board, and why we've never, ever, on the many applications I put in, have ever heard anything from the governor's office or the BTH about it. Maybe it's a new policy. Maybe they've only started doing that lately, but it doesn't sound like it based on this article. The second thing I wanted to mention is on page 44. This is the kind of stuff I always need outside help with, because I write them all the time on this stuff, and they don't pay any attention. I never get a response, or at best I might occasionally get a form letter that's just nonsense that doesn't mean anything. Okay, this other article on page 44 entitled "What is 40 Years Worth?" It's about a guy that spent almost 40 years in prison in California that got exonerated. He'd always claimed his innocence. They finally cleared him with DNA that he was innocent. His name is Coley, and he got $2 million payment, whatever, not even a pittance for all those years of his life gone. But in any case, the thing I wanted to mention here is, let's see, the petition, he put in a petition that started an investigation by BPH officials, an investigation that found numerous former law enforcement officials familiar with the case had serious doubts about the fairness of the prosecution, the evidence submitted, and the professionalism of the investigation at the time. I'm quoting that out of this article. My question is, and I'd like to see if you and some other people would contact the board, is why would they do this for him? I mean, I'm all in agreement that they should, but why are they doing it for somebody else and never will consider doing this for me? I've sent them the 3552 at least 3 times, knowing they received it, confirmation they received it, and they've never opened an investigation or been willing to properly and fairly deal with the fact that I have proven, absolutely 100% proven, that I was framed because of all the falsification of the evidence, the planting of the evidence, the destruction of the evidence in my favor, and so on and so on and so on. So that's the question I would like you, if you were willing and able, and other people to call into the BPH and ask them why they're treating me so much differently than other cases like this that got relief.
What is
because I should have gotten that same relief.
What's BPH stand for? Bureau of Prison what?
BPH is the Parole Board. Board. It stands for Board of Parole Hearings.
Oh, okay.
That's the official name. That's the Parole Board.
Okay.
That's who you've been contacting. That's Jennifer Schaffer, who you've been contacting already about other matters with me. Okay, so that's the main things I had here on my list that I wanted to bring up for sure today. And I want to ask if you have anything more you want to put in. I have another list of things, but I wanted to give you a chance to ask anything of me you might want.
Well, I did want to let you know the other book that he wrote, it's called The Lucifer Effect, Understanding How Good People Turn Evil by Zimbardo and Phillip, and I found it on Amazon.
That's it.
I found it on Amazon for like $3.50 used.
That's it.
So I'm going to order a copy, and I'm also going to download it on Audible. Yep.
Great.
Okay.
So that's it. That's the book. I was mistaken about the word evil in the title. That is the book, The Lucifer Effect. You will be so astonished at the kind of stuff that he's presenting in that book, and even knowing what you know about how evil some of the prison guards can be, but the fact that it's coming now from a very authoritative man and is highly respected in his field, not only as a sociologist who did the Stanford prison experiment, but now as a psychologist. So he's a legitimate California licensed psychologist, and he's a Stanford professor, for goodness sake, on top of all that. So, it would be hard for anybody to say, well, this guy's not credible.
Right.
So the stuff in that book should go a long way to helping free me, but we need somebody besides me to prepare it in such a way and put it before the parole board and compare it with all these claims I've made and the proof. One of the things I recently sent you in the mail that you just received, no doubt, is proof of at least 2 false rule violation reports where their own paperwork that I got a hold of at some point proves that they lied and falsified the accusations against me. You'll see it.
Okay.
As soon as you get to that mail. So we need to line this stuff up, make a comparison, and then show that I'm telling the truth, and try to compel them to give me polygraph or I much prefer voice stress analysis, because polygraph can be beaten by people that are manipulative, and it can also be used against us to come up with a false reading against us. So I understand that voice stress analysis cannot be beaten, and in other words, you can't deceive it, and so that's what I would want. And I've been asking for these for years and years and years and years and years, and that could set me free.
Hey, okay, very good, very good. Free, can you once again tell me this case you want looked up, and do I have to go to PACER or the California State Judicial System to look up this case? You said Henry Lazor, Cal-APT. I'm not sure I got it.
I forgot what PACER...
Yep.
Yeah. I forgot what PACER is. Let me look it up while I'm talking. I forgot what PACER is.
PACER is what PACER.
There are literally dozens.
Yep. Well, PACER is where you look up federal court cases, but I didn't know if yours was a state. Yours is a state case, so I probably have to go to California judicial system and look. You mentioned something earlier in the call about looking something up, and can you say that again and tell me where specifically to look it up?
Yeah. Yes. Well, there are literally dozens of sites out there that are free, where you can look up and download any case that is a published case, and probably even non-published cases. And this is a published case, and it is in the California system, not the federal system. But if you were to go to Lexis, for example, you could get this also. But Lexis is a paid subscription, so you'd have to pay to have a subscription. But I don't know what the names of some of the other ones are off the top of my head, but you can find them easily. Like I said, there are dozens of them. Anyway, the name of the case is Henry Lazor, IN-RE. That means in regard to that's the standard for a habeas corpus petition, Henry Lazor. And it's year 2009, which you don't really need to put into the citation, but it helps. And then the citation itself is 172 Cal App 4th, 4TH, page 1185.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
You don't even need the periods, actually. You can just do CALAPT. So it's 172 CalApp 4th, 1185. With that information, you get it. In fact, if you only had the name, just my name, you probably can find on the computer system out there that's free a bunch of my cases that I filed, even though they were never published. You could find like my old habeas corpus cases that got denied and that sort of thing. In fact, something I sent you very recently that you haven't received yet, I'm asking if you could possibly go to the U.S. District Court, Northern District of California, San Jose Branch Division, and find the habeas petition I filed in the year 2001, or give or take 1 year, one side of that. 2000, 2001, or 2002, I believe 2001, because they're about to destroy that. If they haven't already, they're telling me they destroy all those files about this time, and then it's gone forever because the guards stole and destroyed my copies, and nobody else has a copy except possibly the California Attorney General, and good luck getting it from them. It has so much great information that I spent 18 years researching and putting together, 15 hours a day at least, just devoting my life to that legal case, to getting this information and putting it together in a petition. The petition itself is only about 50 pages, double-spaced, but the exhibits and all of the stuff that's added to it is another probably 700.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Part of that is the 3552, which I also included in that. You won't need that aspect of it. But if you possibly can download for free all the rest of it, it's the only way I can save having that information that I spent so many years of my life putting together.
I'll do the best I can. I'm not having any luck in the first few tries as you were talking. Are you receiving any correspondence from any listener at all of this channel, or is anybody else writing to you besides just me? Or
you have 30 seconds remaining.
From responses to your channel you're talking about?
Right. Yes. Has anybody reached out to you? Just curious.
Maybe one person, and I can't remember right now because I got also a bunch of mail at the same time from people that saw my Facebook stuff.
Okay.
With the conscience shock stuff.
Okay.
So I'm not sure off the top of my head which came from which right now, but maybe one, but not much.
Okay.
Not very much.
Oh, no, I understand. Okay. We just lost him. So he went through a lot of action items there, and I'm not a legal guy, so if you guys can follow that and want to help him, that's, between you and if you have the time.